Close the window.
No, it opens.
Oh my god! Now I have to hear jabbering outside. All right, we're live. Let me start waiting for people to come up. Shonda Pullman, Jamaica man. Got this. I got one person up on YouTube, also live up on Facebook. Okay, got it. Thank you. Let's see here. All right, gonna wait for some more people to join us. We got 2 people on. Hello, Christian. I got this new microphone. I think they call this a pop or something, sound pop or whatever. Let me know if my voice sounds any clearer, or does it sound clearer than before? I want to see if this thing works. Does this thing work good? Just let me know. Got 2 people up on Facebook. Sounds, but is it better? Is it better than last time? Because I really want to see if this thing makes a difference. Some guy told me that I should get one of these, and I've seen other YouTubers use one of these things, so I was like, hey, why not, right? So I got like the cheapest one I could find. Because some people have complained that my voice sounds too scratchy, and I see the point because I've listened to myself and I said, yeah, it does sound scratchy, and I don't want to hurt anyone's eardrums. I got a couple people on.
It's 6 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. You want to join us?
Yeah. But there's only 2?
2 people. No, 4 people.
Okay. Wait till we have a number.
Yes. My dad will be joining us shortly. Been reading up on some of the things happening in the news. Looks like the European Union is going to be having another recession, and it looks like the United States is going to be heading towards that same route as well. And that's just going to not destabilize, but it's going to shift the political route. And then you got this whole CPAC thing with Donald Trump, and that is really interesting because Donald Trump still has a huge following, and he is really sinking his claws into the GOP. So could Trump come back? That's the question that I have. And then you see like the signs of economic woe coming. And if this happens under Biden's watch, it could shift the country back to the GOP, and Trump could grab his opportunity to get reelected. Now we have 6 people, so if you want to join in. Also, you guys can give me a call on Discord whenever you guys want. I just put the link into chat. You guys can call me on there. All right, you want to join us? Hello, Sean. Sean, does my voice sound clearer than before? Because I got this new filter, and I want to see, is there a difference on your guys' end? So just let me know if you think this has made my voice sound better than what I had before. I would like to get people's feedback on this. Sounds the same? Oh, that sucks. Hold on 1 second. How does this thing work? Is this thing working? All right, you want to get on? I'll fix this.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, talk a little bit closer.
Let me set up. Let's see. So, what should we discuss today? Maybe we should talk about Sam Shamoun. Sam Shamoun. I don't know if any of you know Sam Shamoun. I met Sam Shamoun in 1994, I believe, in California. And Sam Shamoun was an Assyrian Calvinist. When I first met him, he was telling me about the 5 points of tulip. And I don't know if any of you recall when James White extended a debate. And
Get a little closer.
that didn't go well. Sam Shamoun got involved in that debate and had a fallout with Theodore. We had we're throwing stones between us and James White, and somehow James White threw Sam Shamoun under the bus, and Sam Shamoun became, antagonist towards us, and you have that extreme Calvinist view. And lo and behold, Sam Shamoun accessed our website and started reading on some of our writings, and he had a change of heart, came back to the Catholic faith from being a hardline Calvinist. Remember, this guy was called as the Oracle. James White called him the Oracle. And now he's in the right side. Tomorrow I'll be doing an interview with Brother Sam Shamoun for about half hour. We talked, we reconciled, and it's good news. So besides that, I'm still continuing. I'm on page 653 on the volume that I'm working, following in the footsteps of Saint, what was his name, from Bethlehem?
Oh, Jerome.
Jerome, yeah, Saint Jerome. Saint Jerome, in his writing, talked about 3 keys that are unlockable from the book of Isaiah, in which Isaiah said, the book will be given to a man who does not know how to read. I said, read this. He says, I don't know how to read. He goes to a man who knows how to read. He says, I do not know how to unlock. I don't know how to read it. In other words, many of the prophecies in Isaiah are locked for the time of the end. Daniel has the same thing. Seal the book for the time of the end. The Apocalypse by John has the same thing. As St. Jerome says, has the 6 seals. And it's locked to the time, who's going to unlock it. And so St. Jerome says, basically at the end, before the ends of days, someone will unlock those seals. And so I've taken that effort to unlock the seals. Unlock the book of Isaiah, unlock the book of Daniel. And it's a tremendous amount of work. And there's literally thousands of arguments, a lot of history. I don't think there's a prophecy that's left a stone unturned in this volume. And hopefully it will be set, etched in stone for the next generation to come. And so that's been my magnum opus, if you will. And it solves many dilemmas. For example, you take the approach of the literalist who's blind. No one really who is not of the apostolic succession can unlock anything as far as the prophetic prophecies in the Bible. It's impossible. It's literally impossible to unlock those secrets in the prophecies if you're not of the apostolic succession. No matter how much you try, no matter how scholarly you are, no matter how you exegete the text, no matter what sort of wonderful flowchart you draw, you will come to the wrong conclusion. I'll just give one example out of thousands in this volume, which has never been done. And I show with absolute proof of each claim we make. It has tons of notations. Take one verse in Isaiah 13. The Arabian will no longer pitch his tent there. That is in Babylon. That's this Babylon the Great of the end times. Not one Protestant commentary explained the allegory behind a tent, which they only applied in the literal sense. Oh, Arabs won't pitch tents in ancient Babylon. They all went out of their way to prove that Arabs used to pitch tents in ancient Iraq, or what you call Iraq. But what does it mean by an allegoric tent? And why is Isaiah telling us about the Arab no longer pitching his tent in Babylon? Did not the Chaldeans also pitch tents in ancient Babylon? Just how dense are such scholars? The solution has a grand implication to the interpretation. A tent prophetically is a big word. Quote, how goodly are thy tents, O Yaqub, Jacob, and thy tabernacles, O Israel. Is God fascinated and admiring tents? Literal tents? That's the problem. They literalize allegories and they allegorize literals. Have these scholars forgotten the first tabernacle was a tent? Quote, the Arabian will no longer pitch his tent there. This means that his temples will no longer be established in Arabia. These are today called the Kaaba in Mecca and Masjid al-Nabawi in biblical Tima, called by the Muslims as Yathrib, known as Al-Madinah al-Munawwara, which means the city of light. These will be no more. That's what it says. Arabs will no longer pitch temples in this Babylon. However, isn't this Babylon in Iraq? After all, Isaiah 13 says, and Babylon, the beauty of kingdoms, the glory of the Chaldeans' pride, will be as when God overthrew Sodom and Gomorrah. Isaiah 13, verse 19. But how could this Babylon be in Arabia, especially that here it calls it Chaldeans' pride? Chaldea is in Iraq. And here it says in the same prophecy, the Arabs won't pitch their tents there. So there you go, Ali. It's in the land of Chaldea. That's not what it's saying. These scholars know the history, but are deceptive since Babylon does not fit Rome. Nabonidus in 556 to 539 BC ruled Babylon. Today is called Iraq. With his son, what was his son's name? Belshazzar. See Daniel 5:8. Belshazzar's father, Nabonidus, the king of the Chaldeans, was on his pilgrimage devoted to the temple of Sin, the moon god in where? Arabia, when Babylon fell. That's a historic factoid. Nabonidus was always absent from Babylon, Iraq, preferring the Arabian oasis of Taymiyyah, today called Yathrib or Al-Madinah al-Munawwara, the radiant city which is mentioned in Isaiah 21 as Taymiyyah. Today it is the city of Nabi Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, and the second holiest city in Islam after Mecca. Nabonidus, like Muhammad, was so attached to that city and was in a pilgrimage there before he surrendered to the Persian forces in 539 BC. While in absentia, marking the end of Babylon and the end of the Babylonian captivity of God's people, the Jews, and the beginning of the Persian Empire under Cyrus the Great, who was hinted about by Isaiah as a type of Messiah. Nabonidus, who after ruling only 3 years, while in the oasis of Arabia, Taymiyyah, and devoting himself to the worship of the moon god Sin, had his son Belshazzar co-regent, king in 553 BC, leaving him in charge of Babylon's defense. On October 10th, 539 BC, Daniel told Belshazzar that God has measured thy kingdom. It has been weighed in the balance and found wanting. Daniel 5:25 to 27. This measuring of a kingdom is to be tested in the balances, is another major clue to unlock who joins the Antichrist, which we shall keep for another lesson to show you what such scholars missed. Daniel's message was clear. Babylon was found wanting. And now you can completely understand that what Isaiah was saying is this: the city that Nabonidus called glorious is where the Arabian will no longer pitch tent their temple. No longer. That means what? Conversion. Again, a tent prophetically is a big word. How goodly are thy tents, O Jacob, and thy tabernacle, O Israel. Numbers 24:5. Very important chapter, and the foundation of all prophecy is Numbers 24, the first and the oldest prophecy about the destiny of the nations, without which you can never unlock the prophecies in the Bible. So we just took one word, tent, and we expounded on it. How about if we take all the words in the scripture and expound on them? I don't have enough time in my entire lifetime to write all the different words and their meanings. And so here is the Jesus-style question to biblical scholars, historians, and interpreters. How did Isaiah foreknew that Arabia will be the tent or the temple of the daughter of Babylon instead of Iraq? Because it's called daughter of Babylon. How did he know that? How could Isaiah even imagine and completely imagine this issue, ignore Iraq, which at his time was the center? How did he know that Arabia will be the center of the temple of this mystery Babylon, or part of that mystery Babylon? So that's why allegoric names are key. For example, when it comes to the harlot, Babylon the Great, prophecy expounds on other usages of allegoric names, such as city, great city, Egypt, Tyre, Milcom, Sodom, Gomorrah, Samaria, that is syncretism, the Lady of Kingdoms, Philistines, mixed multitude, male European seafarers, or the harlot partial threats, Edom, Moab, Lebanon, Cedar, Mount Seir, Mount of Esau, Babylon, Arabia. With the beast, we have the dragon, the monster of the seas, Gog and Magog, Greece, Assyria. All these have literal attributes of actual entities and principalities that these references unlock, that since they apply a literal sense, they remain blind. It's impossible for them to unlock it because they're looking at these names in a literal sense and not applying the allegoric sense, and only the apostolic churches apply the allegoric sense. And that's basically my argument for the day. Theodore, what have you say? Any questions here?
No questions.
No questions.
Yeah, something to say that.
As far as the end times, or
As far as everything you have in mind.
so what I will say is I've been looking at this whole political situation, and let me see if you can see me. Hold on. There we go.
Let's get closer. Get the chair closer. Manuel Santos, Christian Estrada. Hello, Christian.
Hello, Christian. So like looking at this whole the whole political situation in the United States, I think is interesting. With basically Donald Trump still being the leader of the GOP, like he's still leading the GOP tremendously, and then I'm looking at these reports of coming recession issues in Europe, and if there are recession issues in Europe, there's going to be issues here. So if something lately, I've been talking to this friend of mine. He's from Africa, but he works for Amazon, and he has a job stocking trucks for Amazon. And he said that in the beginning of 2020, we were stocking up 100% of the truck. So you have all these packages, you got to put them in the back of the truck. We would fill this truck up 100%. He says now we're only filling up a truck 20-30% of its capacity, which means people aren't really buying things as much as they used to. And then you read these stories or these articles about coming recession issues, coming economic problems. So the question I have is, could a recession happen under a Biden administration? And if that does happen, will Trump take the opportunity to make himself into a coming hero? And then at that point, if you have recession or economic problems in Europe, you're going to be seeing a further revival of nationalism in Europe. You're going to be seeing more and more of an America first a sentiment becoming very popular in the United States. I mean, it's already popular, but just becoming more amplified. And then on top of that, we have a genocide problem going on in Ethiopia. Not a lot of people are talking about this, but there was a war the Ethiopian government and the Tigray people. The Tigrays are people who live in the north of Ethiopia near the border with Eritrea, and then they had a war with the Ethiopian government because the Tigrays had a lot of power over the Ethiopian government, and basically the people of Ethiopia were sick and tired of it, and they had a mass movement to go out and vote for someone who wasn't a Tigray. So they voted for this guy, and then the Tigrays were absolutely enraged by this. They started killing Ethiopian soldiers. A civil war broke out in Ethiopia, and Eritrea joined the conflict. And the Eritrean soldiers crossed the border into Ethiopia, and supposedly, reportedly, they have been butchering Tigray people. The Eritreans have. And tons of people have been massacred. People have been burned alive, axed to death, strangled, drowned. Really, really horrific stuff. Mass rapes. Very, very typical of the Civil War. And how is this going to affect the rest of the world? What it's going to do, this is